Hi, welcome to Design It with Tammie Gibbs. I'm Tammie, and today I'm going to be showing you a few little tricks. Okay, so I recently did inside my group sort of a little catch up, and inside the catch up, what I asked was, what are some of the playbooks that you would like for me to create? And I also asked, what was some of the challenges that people were running into, information that they needed. So, one of the things that was common in the result was they were looking for me to create a playbook that would help them with fashion choices for their characters and for their clip art and such. So, how to dress basically the characters or the like I said, the clip art, whether it be a bear or whatever. So fashion things. Okay. So that was one of the requests. And another was all about poses. So what I wanted to do with this video is go in and actually show you that I actually already have playbooks that contain some of that information. So until I could do maybe a separate playbook addressing, more specifics, there is already a tool out there for you. There isn't already playbooks. There are two different playbooks that you can use in this way. And so I was going to show you how that works and how effective it can be. Because one of the ways that we can actually customize our images is to add those elements that nobody else is doing, add that level that most AI creators with AI, are not including. So poses are one of those things. They typically will depend totally on that the AI generator to put their people or their characters or their little princesses or whatever in whatever pose pops out. Okay. And they also, other than, most of the time saying the princess was wearing a pretty gown, or whatever, they don't get really detailed. However, that is a level that you can set yourself apart with. And I'm going to show you some examples. So let me pop in and just show you some examples. Okay, so we're going to go over to AI Illustrator and I'm just going to type in a very, very basic prompt and we'll do it in the watercolor portrait. We'll just do it and we'll just say a watercolor, a little girl dressed up in or like a princess, wearing a long gown. Okay, so very, very, very basic. And I'm going to just generate it. So, okay, so we have a very, very basic little girl here. Okay, it filled in the blanks of how it wanted the little girl to be. I'm going to regenerate this and make it a little bit bigger. Change the aspect ratio down here so we can see it a little bit better. Okay. So now we're going to go in and we are going to change it up a little bit. Okay. Okay. So now we have actually gone into a little bit. We didn't we said a little girl dressed up. Now you would have thought that this little girl dressed up would have recreated it. This is a little girl, right? Okay. And this looks like more of a teenage princess, right? Okay. So, but that is where you have to name your variables very, very carefully. And so when we expanded it, it made her older. So let's try again and let's do an age, like a little girl aged 8 years old, dressed up like a princess wearing a long gown, and then let's do it and see if that helps us. Which has nothing to do with what kind of dress they're wearing or anything like that, but it does help you because now it did not put her in a long dress, but it did change the age. Okay, so we're going to go back to this one actually, and we're going to regenerate it. And this time we're going to be way more specific about the details. I'm going to go over into volume 1 because volume 1 gives me actually an entire section on fashion. Let me show you where it starts. It actually starts here, and I probably should have put a little divider here that differentiated and said that this is where that starts, but it starts with the high fashion. Okay, so then the next page, on page 7 of the table of contents, excuse me, it goes into these different things. Like here we have gothic, dark fantasy, we have historical fashion, we have luxury and high end, casual, retro and vintage, we have fantasy and sci fi. Let's go into the fantasy and look and see what we've got. So here we've got medieval knights. Have all sorts of different things, finishes and stuff. And then if we go back, 7, we can go up here to the fantasy and mythological, and then we can get the like this regal fantasy royalty, and then you have the mermaid and oceanic. You've got intricate lace, deep shadowy colors. A lot of these elements are very, very good for adding that level. So we're going to use this regal fantasy royalty. We're going to go here. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to take it back to our prompt. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add it here. And to qualify this, we're going to say a part of a regal fantasy royal family. Okay, so now we're giving her some history here. And then here we're going to put her gown is a luxurious gold embroidered dress. And her crown is majestic. Now, if we want to add an element with the crown, we can do that with another one of the playbooks, but we'll go and explore that in a little bit. So we're just going to do this. So it's a watercolor, and little girl dressed up like a princess wearing a long gown, a part of a regal fantasy royal family. Her gown is a luxurious gold. Okay, we're going to go in and we're just going to do a test image. And let me say this about you when you're creating actual characters. You know, there's a difference between, okay, so here you can see the difference between the little girl and this dress as opposed to, and this crown as opposed to just the standard fare. This one actually came out a little fancier, but this way you can see, we basically scripted exactly the way we wanted her gown to appear and her crown. We gave it the cues. Okay, now this one turned out similar. It was our very first image, but it was on accident. which means that now when we regenerate this one, though, we should get those same elements. As you saw with our first image, it gave us something different each time. We started with this one, we went to this one, it was pink, and we went to this one and it was blue. We redo this one now and it gives us a different variation of that outfit. Now, let's go over into, let me find it. This is the playbook you will use. It's called the AI Artist Playbook. Mastering, if I can get it up there. Mastering character creation, body language, and emotions. So this is where we add those elements that normally the AI is just going to write for us. Okay, so we have skin tone. So this is where we can actually go into our skin tone. And we can actually tell it what skin tone we want. So let's say we want a warm cocoa brown complexion. So we're going to go back in, and now we're going to start working on our actual little girl. And we're going to say African American girl with warm cocoa brown complexion. Okay. And then she's going to be dressed up like this. Okay. So now we're going to go here. So now we have a totally new character. She's still wearing the gold, but we have changed her complexion to a little African American little girl, and she is precious. Now we can dial in even further inside that particular one. We can go back up and we can do hair. So we can even work on her hair. There's lots of different ways to do that. Let's try this coily texture with natural definition and see what that does. And it's just basically like trying on clothes. You know, you may not like one little element, and you can, so we've got a, with warm cocoa brown complexion, and we're going to go back here and, whoops, there, and we're going to paste dark hair with coily texture and natural definition. Dressed up. Let me somehow erase that. Okay. So now we're going to go back. And each little element that you add is going to change your image just a little bit, but keep the things that you keep the same. Okay, so see, it did change her hairstyle just a little bit. I mean, these are super cute little images. And now let's go back to the skin color again. And that's what's really great about this particular playbook is, let's go to a porcelain skin tone here. If you know the words to ask for something, then you communicate with the AI in a totally different way. And you go from generalities into specifics. And the playbooks just help you do that. Take all of this and just replace it with a porcelain dressed up like a princess. And let's see now what we get. But rather than having to dig yourself, the playbooks just make it really easy for you to do. So here now we're back and we have the little porcelain skin. Now her dress does have the golden highlights. So after a few images and changing, we ended up with another version of the gold. It's still following the prompt, but this is what often happens when you're not super specific. So if we go back in to what it actually says, it says her gown is a luxurious gold embroidered dress. It doesn't say that the gold embroidered dress, all of it is gold. So the first assumptions were that it was gold. But if we want it to stay gold, then we would have to say gold embroidered dress over a gold satin underlay. So we'd have to give it some sort of keys to say we want the whole dress to stay. So we either have to add a different element or something that defines it. So see, now we're back to having the stuff. But it's still actually, because the one we're using here is not age oriented, it's still flipping back and forth between what's it's considering a little girl. So aged 8 years old. We put that age context back in there. So then you get a more age appropriate little girl. Now, none of these are really, I am concentrating on what they're wearing and not the actual child, basically. I really like this style of little girl for a lot of purposes better than I do these. These are, I would not probably work further with those, but you see how I can dress them. Now, these I could build into a little pack very easily. So let's go into poses and see if we can, how we can get the character to be in a particular pose. Now, just like with anything else, when you start adding elements, often changing one thing can change the whole element. And I'm going to show you a way that if that starts happening, that within Artistly, you can deal with that, okay? Okay, so let's see, descriptions. Okay, let's say rigid or tense, leaning forward, leaning back, slouched, upright and balanced, standing tall, relaxed seating. We just have tons of different things. Okay. Okay, arms loosely crossed, soft gaze, and friendly composure. We're going to use this one. These are like little seed phrases. So we're going to go back to this little girl. And we're going to say, we're just put this down here to start with. And we're going to say her arms, whoops, are loosely crossed. She has a soft gaze. And friendly composure. Okay. So now her arms are crossed and she does have a different gaze. I'm not sure how friendly she looks, honestly. But so we're going to take her into the consistent character and we're going to do the 3D and 2D style images. We're going to pull her in and then I'm going to show you, just do a little example of how we can take our character into the Artistly program and go further with it. So these are just some ways that I work with my characters in the event that I'm trying to use them for a storybook or something like that. This is the way that I would do it. I'm going to keep it in that. And then I'm going to say, keep this character the same, but she is sitting in a matching style throne chair. Okay, so then we're going to regenerate. And this is just one of the ways that you can build your characters. Now, if you're doing this for clip art, you're going to use the same fundamental practice. You just wouldn't go as far as turning these into an actual character. But here you see we now have our character and she is sitting on her little throne chair. Now, if I wanted her to wear pretty slippers, I could add that. I actually, inside of the inside of our character creation playbook, we actually have somewhere, I think we have some shoes somewhere. Let's see. Furs and scales. I wanted to say I had some shoes somewhere. That may actually be in another one of the playbooks. I'll have to come back to that. Arms, posturing. Let's see. Hair, historical, fantasy, children's styles, hair and embellishments. No, I don't see the shoes in here. So, no shoes in there that I can tell. We do have a body type and clothing interaction, which is really cool. Textures of hair, lengths of hair, historical hairstyles. There's just so much here. If we go over understanding posture, emotions, all the eyes and how they can tell a story. Oh, here it is. Emotional. Okay, the language of shoes. So we do have the. That's not it. Let's go up. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The language of shoes. There it is. So then this does give you shoes. So elegant, like vintage, lace ups, fantasy, modern. It gives you all kinds of hats and shoes and that sort of thing. So anyway, it does give you sort of a little primer on that. So let's pop back in here and then let me show you another way that you can work with these images to actually if you're going to do consistent characters, but then you can also go into AI design assistance and you can go into this storybook illustrator and you can use a reference photo and you can choose her and change to that. And then this character is holding a bouquet of flowers. Match the style and colors of the image. So you don't want it to be like a really bright flower thing in the event that you but so Artistly actually has multiple ways that you can build storybook illustrations, that you can build characters, that you can work with those characters. Um, I'm not sure how other AI generators. Okay, now this one in particular changed us totally. It did not keep the style. I mean, you can tell it's still the image, but it changed it up totally. So we would have to go back in and we would have to Illustrator. Okay. We would have to use the reference photo again and choose her. Okay. And then keep the character style and colors the same. The little princess is holding flowers. And see if that works. Because you would really want to keep consistent with this, which going into consistent characters and adding these things is, probably the surest way. But like I said, you have multiple ways that you can build. Now, see, this one is wanting to change the style. So I personally would not use that one with this one at all. I don't like the looks of that like I do her. So I would use the consistent character with her because it was working well with that particular image. Now, if you like this, then you could go ahead and you could actually work on your book with this style because it seems to be consistently given that same style across the images. But personally, I would go back and use these. But anyway, we won't get into that because that's getting way into the weeds of what this video is for. This video is to show you how you can actually use the playbooks already to get some really cool images, how you can dress them. Now, let's take and we're going to do something really crazy. We're going to go back into this one. And we're going to turn this one into something totally different, but we're going to keep the little girl, the basics of this little girl. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here into volume 2, which is the one that has all the fashion stuff. We're going to go back into here, and we're going to go down to the fashion clip art, and we're going to do this casual and everyday. So we're going to do this oversized sweaters, the streetwear basics. We're going to do this. So we're going to use this. We're going to pop back over. And so we're going to read what we've got. All of that is the same. Coily textured hair. So instead of that, we're going to say that she is wearing, we're going to paste this in. Wearing an oversized sweater, not sweatshirt. We're going to use sweater. with flared blue jeans and a trendy hat. Okay. So then we're going to go over here. So now we have turned this basic look into now a new character, and she is perfect for any little clip art that we might do. How cool is that? Now we used this one, which means we did not have a pose, I don't think, in it. We used this one. So see, this one didn't have any mention of any sort of poses. So no pose in there. Okay. So now what we can do, now that we have another girl that we can work with, we've got this super cute little character. We can take the basics and we can regenerate from that. We're not doing a character right at the moment. But what we can do is go back over into the character features here. Go back to the page where it has the posture types. Arms folded lightly, weight shifted, thoughtful neutrality. So that's kind of a mixture of gesture phrases. We're going to put that right here. Arms folded lightly, weight shifted, thoughtful neutrality. And then she is wearing the sweater, the blue jeans. Now, what I found with AI lately is even though you may not intend for it to be, a lot of times it's given us very similar looks. So this is similar. It's not, you can tell it's not the same little girl. The expression's a little different, but now we have the little attitude here. A way that we can do this is change hairstyles, change a little bit about the facial expression or the skin color if we want more variety in what we're getting, because AI is really trying to get us, for some reason it's seeing those similarities. Like her outfit is almost identical. So what we would need to do at this point is change up the outfit. So oversized red sweater with flared and a trendy baseball cap. So you'll work with creating the variety through your prompts. So now we've got a different little girl. They're similar in style, but they're not the same little girl. Her hair is a little different. So look how cute. So you really actually, if you don't already have those particular playbooks, let me show you what they look like. This is volume 2. This is only available on Gumroad, and this is what the cover looks like. And it is Mastering AI Clip Art and Design. So it really does not hint that it has all of those wonderful features in it. And I'm going to show you even more about that as far as what we can do with that. And then this, the mastering characters, let me show you what that cover looks like. Mastering Character Creation, Body Language, and Emotions. That one is available both on Etsy and on Gumroad. And on Gumroad, check to see if there is a coupon that is available for Gumroad. And I think that there is right now, which it is 227.26. But I don't know when you're going to be watching this. So always check my descriptions to see if there is a coupon. If it's an older video, that coupon may or may not be available. And some items on Gumroad are already automatically applying that coupon. So just give it a look. And then on Etsy, those sales are run, automatically. So if it's on sale, you'll see the sale price on it that way. But anyway, this is the one. This one's 425 pages. Volume 2 is 279 pages. It's slap full of word phrases and word banks and phrase banks and lots of very, very good information. But for these applications where you're just trying to dress those characters, you're trying to create the characters, and you want to add elements that you're just not finding, that you're not going to get if you just, for instance, let's go back in and let's just say, I'm going to go back here and go to watercolor portrait, and I just say an African American little girl wearing a sweater. Um, this is what I'm going to get, what the AI wants to give me. Okay. She's cute. She's super cute. Okay. She's wearing a sweater. Super cute. But AI gave that to me. So that really wasn't, I didn't specify any of this stuff, which means that when I go to duplicate that or I go to try to have any control over it, I may get something totally different the next time. See, we get a totally different style and everything. So there's no real super consistency. Whereas if we do this, now this one does have the arms folded. So all of the images should have arms folded. We'll just do 3. So see, we get a more consistent kind of look that then we can go in and we can change up. See, it gave a different hat here. So you see that when you multiply it differently, you got the different looks. So you are more in control of what your output is. Now it's given that because you didn't tell it what color, it actually did, the beigey all the way across. But if you don't want the beige, then you just go in and like I did down here, you change it up, you change the color of the sweater, you change the type of hat. This hat is weird anyway, it's not proper. But you can, dial up or dial down those features that you want. There's so many different ways and elements that you can do inside the character creation one. Like I said, the hair, there's actually children's hairstyles. So you can actually get down into it with like the children's hairstyles. Let me find that. See where it's at. This is hair color. lighting interactions, vintage and historical, and let's see where fantasy, children's. Okay, so we can go over here and say toddler curls with ribbon, bow, sun glow, cheerful mood. We can go back over here. We can go into regenerate, and we can put, instead of here, we can substitute this and put toddler curls with ribbon, bow, sunlight, and glow. We can take off the baseball cap and see what we get. So if this is what you want to be able to do with whether you're doing, like for instance, the poses and stuff. Now see how cute she is. She's precious. And now all of this is under watercolor portrait. We can actually regenerate this, let's just say in the whimsical storybook style, and see what we get. So you don't have to stay with that. You can then take these into the other generators and get a whole different look on it. But see how it changed the expression when it said cheerful? And all we started off, if you remember, with one very simple prompt here. And now we have basically built out a whole tree with different branches of where we can go with what we did. But we started with something very simple, and this is what AI gave us. And then we built from that, and then we just changed it up. And now, okay, so this is what the whimsical storybook look. Cute would be really super cute for a little pack of clip art. That's a really cool little look. I don't know about this. It needs to be removed, but you can remove that in the editor. So you've got that look. And then we could go back in and we could go to the grunge scrapbook up here. Or let's go to watercolor inspired digital watercolor. And we can even take, now that we've got a workable prompt, so we've got a different little girl look. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to copy it. And then we're going to take it outside and do it in the Artistic Designer, which a lot of us love. And go from there. That takes a second or two. So we're going to go over here to back to the table of contents, and I'm going to show you some of the other things that it has. Okay, so one of the other features that is pretty good, well, all of them are good, but one of the things that I wanted to point out is like it does have a whole section on animal emotion and interaction. So animals speak through posture, gaze, rhythm, energy, and it talks about how you can add tension versus relaxation to your images. So even if you do just basic clip art, this playbook can really help you to give your little animal characters a little bit more personality and such. Also, another thing is body type. Body types such as body diversity. So you've got these different elements that you can, like a stocky elderly man with a broad chest. You've got different things that you can plug in, just like a recipe. Okay, so this is the artistic rendering of that little girl. Isn't she precious? How pretty. Now, this, because it cut her off, it only did this, we would have to work with the language so that we added her shoes, and it would probably blue jeans, and down here we could say wearing um, red sneakers. Okay, if we wanted to do it that way to get her full body inside. If it's getting cut off, then normally you need to add an element towards like the shoes. If artistic is cutting it off, or one of the other generators, always go back in and add the shoes or whatever. But now see how cute she is. She is precious. Okay. So working from this one, imagine how cute she would look if we went back to our original now under artistic and did a princess. She would make such a pretty princess. So that's what you have to do. You have to look at these, how you can set your art apart. Now, I think you can probably see that these, even though they have a little personality, but when you really get into the expressions and all of the different things like this one, she's got some real spunk to her. Those are the things that you don't typically get just when you're randomly asking AI, to give you something. So the more specific, we told the bow, we set the color of the sweater, we told it what kind of jeans, we told it what, we added the shoes. Um, in this one, it went ahead and added the shoes down here. But in this one, where it cut her off, we added the shoes, and then we got this version of the character, which is also super sweet. So I think that this has been a pretty good overview for you. And now you know that the character playbook and volume 2 that has all of the clothing. I want to do one more. Just bear with me. This is not as long as I typically do, I don't think. But I wanted to do one more and just show you again how absolutely versatile this playbook is. We're going to go to 6 and going to go to 7. And let's go to the workwear and professional. So let's do this. Let's find something out of the way. Let's do a classic tailored suit. Okay, and we're going to go back to our little girl. And let's just go back down to here, to this one. And change her up. So we're going to go over here, our arms folded, all of that's good. Wearing a classic tailored business suit with tie and matching hat. Now, I didn't give it a color for the business suit, so we'll see what it does. I didn't tell it what kind of shoes or anything, but look how absolutely cute. Her hair is all put up, but she's got this little suit on with a little hat. And we could put her shoes as being hat and brown loafer shoes. And then we're going to go back and add another element. We're going to take the tie off and put a okay. So we're going to take a ruffled. We're going to take the tie off with a ruffled white shirt. So here is our little ruffled shirt. She's super cute. She's got a little attitude. I love the way that the cuffs come up on here. That's really cute. Okay, I just wanted to show you again how absolutely versatile and how we could take that one prompt and we could build it using and dressing all of the little characters out. And remember again where we started. So much fun can be had. So, like I said, those two particular volumes will, for all of you who were really requesting and asking about fashion, the fashion inside this part here, there's a lot of different ones that are available. Futuristic, gothic, bohemian, workwear. There's just a lot of different ones. And there's also how to generate different poses for animals and people. This is a very amended, it's not nearly as detailed as the sections that are inside the character creation playbook, but there is a little bit in that. But then there's just tons and tons. There's the fantasy, seasonal, workwear. Um, and then there's also a little small floral and botanical clip art section in this too. So the volume two is a pretty thorough volume with lots and lots and lots of different ideas and things in it. It was designed for clip art use, but you can use it across any different type of products that you're creating for. You know, it's just got all of this. It has a lot of learning techniques, teaching, but then it jumps into all of the word banks, and they're just word banks on practically everything from watercolor to all of this mystical and fantasy, mythical, clip art, whimsical, seasonal, baby and nursery. And in each one of these, just so I can show you, if you go to soft and dreamy, you're going to have the substyles like cloud core, angelic, and pastel fantasy. So let's take one of those, angelic and pastel fantasy, and let's apply that now to our character. Let's go over here to, let's do her. And we're going to do this at the beginning. We're going to do soft halo, light color, fades. Little African American girl, all that is curls. Sunlight glow, cheerful mood, arms folded lightly. And we're going to take the clothing off and let it just fill in what clothing. Now we're changing up quite a bit, totally. So we're going to probably need to tweak it a little bit. Okay. So basically this gives us, it's pretty. Arms folded. We have the halo and everything. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to put angelic fantasy style with feathered wings, soft halo. And then we're going to take this watercolor and we're going to go in here. And we're going to go to the watercolor, and we're going to do the vintage watercolor print. I'm going to put that there. And remember that this is in artistic too, so it tends to be very flowy style. But once we get it refined, I'm going to take it over into the Illustrator to see what it does as far as practical images. Artistic is, for the most part, gonna, okay. So here we have our little, okay, so we're getting closer. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, and we're going to take it back into AI Illustrator. Take it down here. And see what we get. There we go. Now she is super cute. How adorable is she? I'm going to see if let's go to Pixel Cut. And yes, you can do this inside Artistly, but this is just a faster way for me to test it. And I'm just going to go to remove background. Okay. We're going to put her against black, and she is perfectly, background is perfectly removed on her. Super cute. But you know what, we could make this more intricate. I don't know with an angel if we would, but we could make this. We could do the little halo and get into some more details with it. It did remove her halo up here because it was really soft, so we lost the halo, but we could add one back or do whatever. So this has been a really fun video, and I hope that I've shown you how you can take these playbooks and you can change the fashion. You can change through the mastering character creation. You can change hairstyles. You can change body types. You can change body styles. You can change facial expressions. You can change posture. There's just so many things that you can do with these two playbooks. And so I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration and that it will help you in your character creation, whether you're doing it for clip art, whether you're doing it for wall art, whether you're doing it for actual storybooks. I hope it'll come in handy. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you've gotten something great out of it that'll help you grow your business and gain more time with your family and friends and creating those memories. And be sure and check out all of my new playbooks. They're not listed here. I've got two new ones. I've got one on how to sell clip art in 2026 that's going to give you lots of pivots to accommodate you and your shop against all of the bulk competition that's coming in, just to say it plainly. Anyways, that's a great resource. And then I have the brand new vision board kit strategy book, which is all about vision board kit systems that allow you to not only sell vision board kits, which are trending like crazy and seem to be a trend that is very underserved and unnoticed. And you can not only do those kits, but from those kits that you create, then there are lots of different products that you can then turn those elements into. And this is the whole system of how you can set that up and put that to work for you. So that's another brand new one. So anyway, just check out those. Go to the website www.designitwithtammie.gibbs, and that is Tammie, Tammie Gibbs. But all the links are down in the description, so be sure and check them out. If you don't have Artistly, always remember that I have my affiliate link down in the description, and I appreciate anything you can do. You don't have to pay extra for it. It just helps me out and helps support the channel and helps support me continue to help you grow your business. Until next time, happy creating.